What's up, everybody?
Hey, hey, how's it going?
It's going good. Thank you all so much for jumping in. Let me get everyone's questions and answers pulled up here in the background. It's loaded now. All right, everyone, thank you so much for jumping in. Love to see all these familiar faces. A couple people are back every week. I see Dennis popped up. So I also love to seeing that. Dennis, thank you so much. I love to see that. And I've got everyone's Q&A pulled up here in the background as well. So like you guys might know, whenever you sign up, I ask you, what is the most important question in your business? Okay, so you guys, when I call on you, you can ask a fresh question, or I can pull it right off of the right off of the form that you filled out. So I've got everything pulled up in the background. Hey, Kimberly, welcome to the party. Thanks for making it. All right, awesome. And we are going to start also having some additional structure to these. We're going to start doing some really cool stuff with these calls. So once a month, we're going to start making live seller lead calls. So you guys can actually bring your leads to us, and then we'll be making those calls live. That's something Francisco has volunteered to do. So much respect, Francisco, for being our little superhero in that department. But he'll make all the calls for you guys. We're going to do that once a week. Another week a month, I'm going to start having one of my close friends that are also in the industry that has a really great perspective, whether it's creative financing or how to fund deals, some super ninja thing that we can all learn and grow from. So I'm going to start having a celebrity guest once a month as well. And then twice a month, we'll do just the regular group calls where we just do Q&As, and we get in your business. You guys can ask whatever you want on these calls whenever we just do Q&As. This is going to be one of those calls. And we'll probably be set up, I'd imagine, June and July for the more structured one live seller call, one celebrity coaching, and then 2 Q&A calls. Is when we'll probably be set up, but really excited about all that. And all right, so I got this thing pulled up in the background. I like to work top to bottom, left to right, which means if you have your camera on, you will most likely be called upon to get your question asked, right? Not that I am playing favorites, but the way Zoom works is top to bottom, left to right. The people that have their cameras on are at the top. You don't have to do that. You can definitely hit the hand raise icon. Yeah, I love seeing your faces, but I'm not trying to make you show your faces, but it does help me prioritize you guys as well if you do have questions. So pumped about that. All right, Doug. So you're at the top. Doug, do you have a fresh question for us, or do you want me to pull up the one that you put into the form?
Well, my question is the same one I put in there. Is basically I'm just getting started. I got lead number 1 yesterday.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I find that I'm being bombarded by data, right? And I'm trying to figure out how to stay organized with everything. I've added a process to my process, right?
Okay.
From everything, I'm following Chris Thomas, and I'm following
Oh, that's right.
Kendall June, just kind of to build a process for my business. And coming from a career in sales, I know how valuable hot leads are.
Right. Yeah.
And if I'm going to get 30 to 60 hot leads saying, yes, I want to sell my land, and I'm only going to be able to close 1 or 2, maybe 2 or 3 of these, how many leads are going to waste? And I want to go somewhere with them. So
I love that.
I'm adding a process to actually go somewhere with those. And if I can't make $1 on them by flipping a parcel, I'm gonna make $1 on them somewhere else, right?
Yeah. No, I love that idea.
Yeah,
It's we all want to have as many ways to, even if you break even and my lead gen becomes completely for free, what a great win that is.
Exactly.
Yeah, to say the least. So I love that attitude.
Exactly. But I'm having trouble staying organized. I'm fairly disorganized anyway, but being disorganized doing this isn't going to work.
Yeah, no doubt. And then do you have a CRM yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. So what I'll try to do is I'll try to pull up maybe my CRM in the background. Okay. So you could get a feel for how maybe how that would benefit you. Because I think something like that
Okay.
would help a lot. All right, let me get this pulled up. And yeah, I really like what you're saying, right? You talk about categorizing leads in different ways. So I'm gonna pull up one of our test accounts here. I think it's called test. Let's see. All right, so I'm gonna get a screen share going on, bring you guys into my CRM here. All right, so in the opportunity section, okay, is where we're gonna find some of our items. Let's see what these are. Oh, no, this isn't a good one, of course. Let's try this one out. Yet, not yet. Okay, look at that. We did it. We found one. Okay, so this is one of my lead accounts here that I have. This is my business, Done For You Real Estate. So you're not looking at anyone else's leads at the moment. And this works out really good because you can begin to really build it out. So one, we have an interested seller. Okay. And I think that that is an important phrasing, right? So interested just means they're interested. Doesn't mean they're motivated. Okay. Doesn't mean they're distressed. Doesn't mean the numbers line up. It means they want to sell. So that's why we call it that. Then next we hit qualified leads. Okay. Which is needs comps, right? So qualified means that something in here qualifies us to spend 30 minutes comping it, right? That's a good way to look at that. Okay, so then we can move someone over to qualified comps. Okay. Pending builder response. That actually doesn't need to be there. That's on the buyer side. And then one thing I'll add is what we'll call no deal leads. We'll just create that for now. Okay. So back to the opportunities. We've got interested seller, qualified lead, offer made to seller, offer accepted by seller, contract signed by seller. Okay. Now these are different things, right? With land, very often it can be the same, but with houses, it often comes in stages. We do a verbal offer, right? They accept it. Then we send the contract. Okay. And then they actually sign it. Right. So there's a big difference between saying the amount and them saying that they'll sign it and then them actually signing it. So that's what these three are. Okay. Then beyond that, we'll call them no deal leads. I love the way you worded it. If I don't make a dollar, if I can't make a dollar myself, I'm going to make a dollar some way off of this. So what I would do is I would move leads over there. So this guy, he's a no deal lead, for example. Now that can spark off a whole nother strategy that goes off here. Okay, so one of the cool things about the CRM is if you look on the left here, it says sellers. So you have sellers. This is vacant land. So you have sellers, and then you can create one that's also for buyers, or some that's called, we'll call them no deal leads. So we can create a whole nother strategy for them. So like one example is we could be a shop around for realtors. Could be one strategy for no deal leads. But what we could put in here then is a series of tasks that we should do on how to make money off of the leads that we can't flip ourselves, right? Just because someone doesn't want to give you the property at 50 cents on the dollar doesn't mean a realtor can't take it and sell it for more money, or we can't come up with another creative solution for it. as well. So something like this, being a little bit more organized, can help. Click save here. So now when we go back in here, we have this extra pipeline, no deal leads, and then we can also track the lead from there. But having a CRM, and our CRM is automatically linked up too. So when we generate a lead, it will be in here. And as you saw, you can completely customize these opportunities to match whatever you want as well. Then inside of here, you can get really nerdy with the tech. I really don't recommend that unless you're ready for it, right? So one thing I really recommend is we keep things very simple. Okay. So one example is there's a bunch of quick buttons here. One, I can call the lead at the click of a button. Two, I can view the conversation. So I'm going to click that real quick. Okay. Now this is inside of our texting app here. And I can actually bring us right to the text messages. So if me and this customer had communicated in text messaging, we would have the whole conversation right there. So that's really cool. Then after text messaging, we have tags. Okay, so this lead says this tag was too high. So, they wanted too much for the lead. Then we have notes, which we could then mark the notes in here as well. Okay, looking to purchase car and get dental work done. First of all, that's awesome. You want to talk about great motivation? We're already, and I talk about this all the time when we find out. So what happens after we sell this property, what's next is a question I constantly preach. And that's a great what's next. Those two things are very expensive, especially the dental work. But so that is kind of cool there. And now I see why it's marked too high, because she paid 81K. She's actually seeking 45K. Okay, so she's seeking less than what she even paid for it here. But so this is definitely an interesting lead in itself. But you can then go through. You can also add tasks. Maybe you have or you want to create a reminder for yourself. You could either add a task for yourself or you can add a direct appointment. Okay. Now, where I would live in here would probably be conversations. So you could see the last text messaging. You could add some tags here if you want to get even more organized to maybe update you where they're at in the process. I like notes a lot, like we just read. We're using that. And then the tasks and appointments are perfect for, reminders. So this is kind of a system that can really help you stay organized. And like you said, you just got your first one. I always joke and I say, you don't need a CRM until you have leads to manage, right? Because if you don't have any leads yet, don't go down these rabbit holes of all this software and everything. Because it really, even if you got this, I'd recommend your first week, you just live in opportunities. Just live in the organization of it. After you figure out the organization of it and the flow you follow, then start playing around with the dashboard and the conversations and the tasks and stuff like that too.
Okay, thank you. I go to touchpointconverts.com and it says site can't be reached. What kind of what CRM is that?
So yeah, so that is my CRM. I'm actually about to buy another one called Flow Fusion that I'm going to probably launch in about a month or so.
Okay.
I do still have this. This is on the website at the bottom of the pricing page. It's about $75 a month is what it is. The CRM I'm going to buy is $100 a month, but I'm going to be blasting out an email offering everyone to get in at $75 per month. And it's the same exact thing. These are called like a go high level white label. So it's all mimicked. It looks the exact same. It just has a different brand in the upper left. But I would expect to see that email come out in like a week. I'm going to offer a light discount of $75 a month for that. So even when the price goes up, it doesn't go up for anyone that takes care of that. In the meantime, if you wanted to look at a demo video that I already shot, I'll put that in the link here. I'll put that in the chat. So if you guys want to click that and bookmark it, you can see this old demo video that I created that kind of covers all the main features that I would focus on as well. It's about 45 minutes long. And that is available right now, but like I said, the new one, I should be ready to go in like 2 weeks for that one as well. All right, good deal. Any other questions, Doug, about any of that?
No, it looks good. I'm digging into this. I'm spending my days uh, watching videos and learning as much as I can. So there's just obviously a lot to unpack right off the bat. So
Yeah, no doubt. And yeah, and thanks for showing up. And if you need anything, it's good to see you here taking action, asking questions. One thing I've learned, and the reason why I provide all this support is one thing I've learned is the more I support my clients, the more successful, the more action they're okay with taking because they feel more supported, right? So people go, oh, why do you have the free coaching? Why do you offer the courses? Because it actually helps you guys take action because you're like, look at this arsenal of support I have. It's much easier whenever we have that too. But awesome, man. Thanks for coming. All right, next up. Yeah, my pleasure. Next up, we have Cynthia. Hey, Cynthia.
Hi, I'm brand new. And
Awesome.
so I'm just gonna be pulling a list
Okay.
soon. I have a Go High Level account currently, and
Right.
I'm getting it A2P ready.
Right.
And so, but since I haven't been able to get a blast going out marketing, I've been calling, cold calling. Well, I emailed the seller, and
Yeah.
so I found this one deal, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, someone said yes. Is that feeling right? So
Yeah.
I reached out to this guy. He was selling some property in Florida, recreational land for 25,000 was his asking price. So I wrote back and I said, I offer 10,000. And then he said, how about 15 question mark? And so I wrote back 11.5. And he's like, no, I can't go that low. So so now I'm at the point where, okay, so what does this property really look like? Is it worth, 15,000? But at least I got him down 10,000.
Yeah, right off the bat. Right. Right. And then was this over a text, were these over text messages too on your personal cell?
No, well, yes and no. It was you could text or email. So I text him that I emailed him. And then he
Right.
texted me back, I emailed you back. So we were texting.
Nice.
Check your email.
Right, right. Good for
Yeah.
you, first of all. That is exciting. It is good to know that he came down. Sounds like we get him a little bit below 15 too. Maybe just 11.5 was a little bit too far.
I know.
And
Yeah.
but no, that's not, you didn't do anything wrong. I mean, that's a part of the game. I mean, he says, yes, it's worth it. It's about managing their emotions if they were to be upset by it. Oh no, that's too low. What are you up to? No, I'm not up to anything. We're just talking here, right?
Yeah.
But with a lead like that, what I would do is I would definitely work towards comping the property, right? Now, there's a couple different ways to comp it. One of them is I really trust this company called Priced. They do it all digitally, and they have
Oh,
this great comping system. I can put a link in the chat here
oh,
for you
great.
guys. They also have a deal where if you sign up using that link I sent, you get 400 free records. They charge like 10 cents per record, and all of their records come like with estimated pricing and stuff.
Okay.
So they're kind of like this boutique software meant to help us figure out the price of land, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, super perfect, but it's maybe closer to like a Zestimate, right? For land, so we can judge these things better.
Okay, cool.
So that's definitely one strategy that I would recommend. The other thing, and I'll let Francisco go here because I'm sure he'll have some good stuff. But the other thing I had another client do is what he does is when he gets it under contract, he just puts it on the Facebook Marketplace. Okay.
Mm,
And he
mhm.
just lets people offer on it.
Yeah.
Right. And then he will kind of get a feel for the property value off of that. Which
Mm.
I like that strategy too, because now you're not putting a value on it. You're letting them put a value on it. Or you can put it at 25, which is what he said he wanted, and then see if you get any messages over the next 5 days. You guys might not know this, but as soon as you list something on the Facebook Marketplace, you're gonna, if you're gonna get any messages, it's gonna be in the first 4 or 5 days, right? Is
Okay.
basically how that whole thing works. So now that's not really a comping strategy, right? But that is a putting the feelers out there
Yeah.
strategy. Is what I'd recommend there. And
Okay.
Francisco, do you have any other advice there?
Yeah, so like with comping, I think the majority of the concept of comping is trying to find something that's most comparable to what you're trying to evaluate, right? So it's not going to be exactly perfect as far as size, but one of the things that I've learned, or at least always kind of used as a general rule of thumb, is with land, you want to try to find, let's just say if you're trying to comp infill lots, you want to try to find lots that are no more than 500 square feet than your subject property, or a little bit either over or above, right? So that way you have a decent range, right? For acres, you want to try to compare a little bit close in the range. You're not going to compare 20 acres to 200 acres, right? Vice versa. So you want to try to find a sweet spot of, okay, a range between 20 and 30, and try to figure out an average between the most recent sales. Sometimes you may have to go further back in time to see the comparables, right? Maybe a year would be substantial enough, but always make sure that you're just having a small point of reference, because really all comparables are is just an opinion of value. And kind of like what I said earlier in the call, or in some of the other previous calls, sellers always going to determine price, buyers always going to determine value. So at the end of the day, something, Nick might value something at a different price than you may value it at. But at the end of the day, it's a matter of what is the market willing to bear for this particular property in this particular area, given the market conditions. So it's really just subjective. Use it as a reference and as a guide, but don't use it as a holy grail, is what I've always been taught.
Yeah, I like that. And it's almost like a good mixture of everything that we're alluding to, right? Like getting some comps so the range of value, right? It's not definitive. Maybe using the Facebook strategy to see what the public's willing to pay, because we all know selling something is more about what someone's willing to pay, more than what we think it's worth. And then maybe using price in there as well, to get that range in there for you. And then we're running some manual comps. I think also if you do use priced, do a manual comp versus that, right? So maybe we could figure out how they got there, or we could price check. It is a software, so I think it's always very important to double check certain things and not just take it as it is. So if you were to comp some manually and then run some on priced, you could maybe get a feel for, okay, great, I'm getting the same thing. Great, I don't have to comp stuff anymore. I can just use priced. Or you know what, we're way off. I need to figure out who's missing what. All right, awesome. Any other questions about that, Cynthia, or anything else?
No, thank you, Francisco. I appreciate the information. I'm going to definitely check out those links, Nick. But
Awesome.
that's all for now. Maybe next week I'll have a follow-up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, good luck with that. I mean, it sounds like you're onto something. And I would definitely check it out for sure.
All right.
For
Thanks.
sure. Yeah. All right, Gentrit, what's up, dude?
Hey, Nick.
How's it going, bud? I see you all over my Facebook, man. It's nice to have you here.
Oh, yeah. Every time I see your ads, I'm gonna like or comment
Thank you, bro.
to
Thank
push
you,
the
bro.
algorithm further.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we need all the help we can get.
While I try my best to help you, even though this is my first time, being here, I don't know if I should have scheduled a call prior to this group coaching, but I am here with a friend of mine. He is in the meeting too.
Okay.
I know you have been killing it. I know you have been helping a lot of people. So both of me and my friend are brand new to the industry,
Okay.
and I know you do a lot of coaching. So I signed up, I believe, a few days ago.
Right.
I did see the courses for land and house flipping and everything. I just wanted to get an idea, if you can provide that for us, please.
Yeah.
What's the best way to make this possible? If we go through your courses, we will have all the resources needed, or do we need to connect with someone that is already doing this, and so on? We are definitely interested in using your services regarding the leads and so on. And we are just more concerned for the other part, regarding
Right.
closing the deal and, what's gonna happen after we close the deal and so on. So pretty much just like a idea, if you can point us in the right direction, that would be
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's a great question, and probably something that can relate to a lot of people. With us, my main function is to make sure that you guys have yes leads, people that are interested in selling in your inbox. Okay. Above and beyond that, my courses and these calls and stuff are here to design to help you to go from lead to contract. Okay, is something that's very important. So I do provide you one thing I don't offer yet, but I can probably get for you is we just don't have, and again, I can probably get this up today. It's just contracts, right? For people in the area. Contracts are very general though, but I think that's the only thing I don't currently offer is just a contract. I do offer the full strategy in order to get it converted. Okay, so like for example, if you're doing land when a lead comes in my course, I tell you exactly what to say to those leads and exactly how to treat them. Now, I mean, it's going to take some practice. It's not just listen to me and you're going to go off and be the world's greatest investor. I mean, that could totally happen, but it's going to be finding your own method inside of my strategy that I teach. So that will definitely. Now, once you get it under contract, whether it's me or Francisco or someone else, we will also even work with you on two things. One, I help my clients find buyers. You may have seen it on my Facebook posts all the time. I say, hey, I have a client, and they get a lot of action. I just posted one in text of like 25 comments of people buying land out there. So it's 25 buyer conversations they just got for free, quote unquote. And then when it comes to title, we can at least get you some support. I'm honestly, my knowledge ends once we get to title. If I'm being 100% but that's just mine personally. I know Francisco's closing deals, and I also have a bunch of land coaches that are close friends of mine that I can get questions answered for you. But it's my goal to get you to a contract, and I will be a good sounding board if we get past title and someone cool to talk to who has experience, but I'm not going to say like I'm a ninja going from title to closing, right? So that's where some of my skill set runs out. However, that's the easy part. And one thing we don't know about title companies, because I've just bought 2 houses without realtors. And what's really cool about, they make a lot of money, title companies do. And you can actually call them and they will walk you through what's happening. They will tell you, and that's the main goal that I've learned with title company is you want to call them at least once a week and ask them what's going on, how things are going, and what's slowing us down, so that way you can stay on top of it. But that's kind of how my system works. So we'll get you the leads. I help you convert them to contracts, and then I will help you find buyers for them as well. Title is my gray area of knowledge, but I'm still here for that. I'm not like, hey, call somebody else, but I am not as much of an expert as the other pieces in the equation.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense. And thank you. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Just a quick question, if you don't mind, please.
Yeah, go for it.
So one of your ads is one of the King Kong packages, like for
Okay.
$1,400, and it's like average 1 to 4 deals. Is that, once you have some experience and once you have, everything on place, that you can get between 1 to 4 deals? How would you portray that, please?
So for land, in all honesty, if you get the King Kong, I would expect, I just got the phone with the client earlier who was a seasoned land investor. And I said, new people in land are getting 1 to 3 deals using the King Kong, right?
Okay.
And what matters there is how many leads you get. What I would expect for everybody watching is 1 closed deal per 20 leads. Okay. So now if you purchase it and it's a super saturated market and we only get 10 leads, then I would not expect a closed deal to come from that, for
Okay.
example. But if you have 20 leads, every 20, I would expect at least 1 closed deal. And to reverse construct that, I almost like that, almost as like a point of reference. So if you have 20 leads and they all look like they sucked and there's no contracts, I always say you probably missed something, right? Because so go back through all the leads. I very commonly relate being a real estate investor to being a detective, right? If we're hunting a murderer, right, and our leads run cold, we have to look at something we may have missed, right? Okay, I might have missed something. Was this fingerprints lying around? Did they leave any extra clues, right? We have to dig a little bit deeper. So I always say if you're at 20 leads and you have no contracts, review every lead, recall every lead, and pretend like you missed something because most likely there's a contract in there.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And then Christopher, I know you said you have a question.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, brother? How's it going?
Pretty good. Yeah, so I got a lead. It's a house lead.
Okay.
Right now that I've been chatting up with the guy, and he's just replaced a lot of stuff. It's like new bathroom, new HVAC, new plumbing. But from the looks on Zillow, it looks like it might just need some like cosmetic updates.
Okay.
And I'm waiting for pictures on the inside. But he said a tree recently came down and did damage to the gutters and the
Great.
fence.
Great news.
So it's got new updates, but he's also got some damage that he
Okay.
seems like he's just could probably be passive on like fixing, and he's open to, to move it quicker and get his family into
Right.
a different place.
Yeah.
So, but the comps aren't great, and which which I always kind of shoot for a lower price if the comps aren't great. It's a little more risky, but I know you said something about a strategy earlier
Yeah.
about getting it under contract and throwing it out to your network.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, there's two things too I'd recommend for you, but go ahead. I'll let you finish asking.
yeah. So I was wondering if it would be like a good practice to be transparent about that. Like say like you got it under contract, and obviously the clause is already in there that you have the right to
Cancel. or
market
whatever.
it, excite, or assign it and cancel, and I guess market that contract, right? So let's say offers were coming in lower than what you got it for, and then you could go back to the seller and say, hey, I always show this to my network, and it looks like I was
Or we
uh
were high.
that
Or
we're
whatever it
high,
is. Right.
so would that be a good practice as far as coming back to cancel?
Yeah, I'll give you two answers. One, I'll answer your direct question. I would definitely YouTube strategies, like go to YouTube and look up strategies on how to talk them down after the contract, right? There's some great practices that afterwards, there's a lot of things we can say. You're right with what you're saying. Hey, put it out to my network, but there's people that have already created these like perfect lines, if that makes sense. So I
Yeah.
would definitely YouTube some topics based around after the contract is signed, how to get a lower price with the seller. Okay. Just so your language is perfect. All right. So that's definitely number one, because I don't have those off the top of my head. But I know that they're out there because I've seen and heard a lot of them. But yes, that's definitely fine. What matters is, I think, with integrity in your heart, that you're not trying to do that, right? It's okay to do that. That's a real problem, right? But that you're not going out there and just saying, yes, just sign the contract and I'll talk you down later, right? So
Yeah.
I think, yes, it's perfectly fine to do it, but just make sure that you're not going out of your way to
Just
do
to
it.
get it under contract for
Yeah,
what he wants it
exactly.
for. Yeah.
So that would be my advice there,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, I still intend to stay in the range of where I honestly think there's room for profit there. But I
Right.
mean, you never know.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that I think is perfectly honest and stuff too. Then the next part would be what I call the 3 offer method. Okay. And I don't know if you've heard this before, but I'll just cover it real quick. So in my opinion, we have the cash offer. Okay. The cash offer is the lowest offer, right? It's 50 cents on the dollar off, 70 cents on the dollar, whatever that might be. After the cash offer, we have what's called a novation. Okay. This property sounds like it would be a perfect novation. Do you know what a novation is?
Yeah. I've actually been trying to looking to implement something like that. I'm
That
just kind of
strategy.
unclear on
Okay,
the technical,
aspect of it.
aspect of it.
Yeah, so I'll try to clear some of that up real quick. Okay. Hopefully I don't make it more confusing. I don't think I will. But you never know. So what a novation is. Okay, so we'll start from the top. Property's worth 100,000. You want to pay them 65 as a cash offer. Okay.
Actually, hey, I don't mean to be rude. Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah, please.
So, I think I have a pretty decent knowledge of innovation. I think my specific question about innovation would be, I think there's like some sort of technical way in which you have to release your like a memorandum of interest to get paid. I know there's like some sort of like there's something you have to do with the paperwork involved, which
Right. To kind of
I,
dance around those topics,
which
right?
kind of makes it not a net listing.
Yeah,
Right.
so yeah, and my answer to that, again, I'm no expert, but I'll give you so in order to get the property listed on the MLS under you, but someone else own it, right? That's really the obstacle that we have.
Yeah.
There's two ways to do that. Number one, you get them to sign a power of attorney, but that's not over their whole life. It's just over this one real estate transaction. So you have a document. It basically says, hey, just sign this one little document. It's a power of an attorney. And this will allow me to list the property on your behalf and handle this whole process for you. Okay.
Right.
So that's number one. The other part is you can just be super transparent and say, hey, I'm gonna fill this up. I'm gonna list this on this thing. If you want, you can just sign. Either way, they have to sign a document. Okay. Whether it's with a realtor or a power of an attorney. So I know a lot of people that don't go the power of attorney route just because that phrasing sounds scarier.
Right.
Okay. It's like we want to make things sound softer. Okay. And I'll get to innovation after this, guys, too, just so you know. But so it sounds softer. So, but they do have to sign a document, whether it's giving you the power through power of attorney or whether they're signing it with the realtor that still gives you the power, right? So either way, they have to sign this document. So with that too, I would look up a guy named Eric Brewer. He's great with novations, and I think he's got a bunch of training. You've probably heard of him. He's got a bunch of trainings around this, and there's just like with the other point I was bringing about talking them down, there's just great lines that make it very easy. So one thing a lot of people do with novations that I really liked, I have this one client who literally has a pamphlet. He has a pamphlet that he created about why listing with him is better than listing with the realtor. Okay. And then it's like a novation pamphlet. And he's like, we do all this work for you. We handle the showings. We repair the house. We take care of. So he poises it as like a white glove, stressless solution.
You're talking about what's it? Rich Wonders.
No, this guy is just in a mastermind I'm in. He's just a little independent guy.
Okay.
But he may have watched Rich's presentation though.
Yeah.
But he has this really cool thing about how he's like white glove service. And I really like that approach to it as well. So I think the main goal is to get them to sign the document, but the more you make it sound like a service is being provided, the less they care. Because, like what I was getting at earlier was, innovation means they want more than what you would give them for a wholesale deal, but less than retail, and you're going to make that spread. So you make that spread off of repairing the home, handling the showings, and making it pain-free for them. And those three things is why they want to sign over to you, right? That's why they're like, you know what? I see, I'm not just signing this document so you can make money. I'm signing this document so you take responsibility, right? And so I think that language helps them decide to sign the documents. Like, look, I'm just going to do all the legwork. All you have to do is cash the check in 3 months, right?
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. I see. So normally, how the repairs are worked, that's kind of also pitched as like a credit, right?
A built-in, yeah. Yeah, so with the repairs on the
You're just
Novation,
taking cuts off of the purchase price as a credit for the third party purchaser, right?
well, yeah, so with the repairs, those do come off of your profit directly,
Yeah.
you know. But the upside is that, you know, most of these people, they go in there and with this at this mastermind, this guy said, you know, putting a nail in the wall might as well be a $500 job to these people, right? And so it's like these repairs, the repairs shouldn't be extensive, right? So I would say each repair list in your head should not exceed $5,000. And even that is a lot, I think, for a Novation, right?
Mhm.
So the goal is that the Novation kind of lives somewhere between, you know, retail and distressed, you know, and then
Okay.
you're just covering the gap. Now, in this case, if there is more damage, like this tree damage or something like that, you would just work that into it. So if he's like, hey, I want 80,000 and the home's worth 100,000, you could say, let me get a quote on the tree repair. Hey, that was 3,000. Are you okay with 77,000 and I'll take care of the tree damage? Do you follow? You kind of follow what I'm saying? So that way you can work it with him. You can take it off your asking price with
Right.
them
Yeah. Okay.
if you know about the extensive repair beforehand.
Yeah, they tried to list it. I think it was like maybe like a couple months ago with a realtor, but they, you know, it's also an expired listing. So
Got it.
his bottom dollar of the first range he gave me was 265. So I imagine they didn't even get offers for that while I was on market. Um, yeah, so yeah, I guess the first low cash offer pitch or would kind of anchor him more, you know, closely to a
And
Novation.
yeah, and then the third option would be it's a cash offer, Novation, creative finance. So if he's not budging, you're like, look, I could do 265, but I'm going to pay you 20,000 down and $1,000 a month for the next 5 years. So it's like that would be the third option. Now he's not just feeling like you're coming in and stealing the property. Now he's like, well, great. This guy gave me three options. I can either wash my hands for 180. I can list it with him for 220 or with 200, right? Maybe you take the 65 off the spread, or he can creative finance it from me, give me a lump sum down and pay me monthly on, right? So this is just good. That strategy is just good customer service. Like even if you go to my website, I offer everything in 4 different sizes. And it's because people love options. If you just offer one thing, he could easily say, no, man, get out of here. Right. When you
Yeah.
offer 3, he's like, dude, you're a badass. I really appreciate you giving me these choices. Kind of thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, man. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know some other people probably
Okay.
got questions, but yeah, so I guess I'll probably look for more content on how to, I guess, you know, pitch that white glove experience as a Novation, even though they've already listed it with a realtor. Because in my first thought is like, well, if they've already listed it with a realtor, why would they give me the permission to list it with a realtor? Why
But
wouldn't
you
they just
know,
list it again with a realtor?
right. And what I would do is I would just, you could find those answers. Hey, what happened? What did you hate about? Because you know what I mean? Work their
Yeah,
experience
yeah,
against them. Hey, what'd you hate about that?
yeah,
What sucked them? Well, we were showing the house all the time and we were doing this and doing that. And oh, well, look, well, what if I took all that off your plate? Right. And so it's like you can almost start to poise it. Now, I agree with you. If they already did it and there was no pain around it, then you know that might be different. And maybe you just skip that and go for the creative finance or wholesale. Right.
yeah.
But you know, I would play their last because it's not listed anymore. So something didn't go right. And I
Yeah,
would
I mean, honestly, it really all comes down to like, you know, setting the expectations with what the real value is.
right,
Because really that was the problem is I was just listed too high. Innovation is more
right.
probably closer to what the actual value is.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. So it might be getting them down, getting them to realize it, um, you know, in a sense too. Because yeah, I mean, that sounds like the hurdle is their asking price is still too high, right? Like in a sense, you know. But you know, it could be a good creative finance one. And you know, one thing about creative financing is if you can re-rent the property for a profit, it's a great creative financing deal. That's how that works. It doesn't matter what the terms of the deal are. Even if you told them you'd pay $10 million over the next 1,000 years, right? It
Mhm.
doesn't matter because you can rent it for more per month than you're paying. And so it's like, I remember one of my old teachers, I know that's confusing at first, but one of my old teachers used to say something really weird that never made sense to me. And he was like, I'll do any creative finance deal for any price. What matters is the terms, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll buy it from you for 5 million. I'll give you $200 a month for the next 1,000 years, right? Well,
Yeah.
we could re-rent it out each month for $1,000 profit, right? Who gives a shit about? So the cool thing about creative finance too is if you can just make that monthly number work, nothing else matters too. So that was a cool insight that I just realized that a couple
Mhm.
months ago.
Yeah. So what matters is just the spread between what it's going to rent for and
Exactly.
what they will accept for a monthly payment.
That's right. That's
Okay.
really what matters there, right? Because that's what has, if you were to pitch that to an investor, you could say, look, you're going to make $500 a month here. Like that's a lot of money. So if you bought this, you're in it for 25,000 down and you're going to make $500 a month, and anyone who can put 25K down and make $500 a month profit, I think I mean, I do that deal just in case anyone's listening. If anyone has a $25,000 down, $500 a month cash flow deal, I'm in. But so that's some of the beauty of creative financing. It gets really cool. And that's why one of our first guest speakers is going to be a creative financing guy that I'm going to get in here for us. Because I think that's the biggest thing that could probably benefit everybody.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna kind of turn a lot of that stuff around and kind of go back to that lead and see what might happen.
Okay, great. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna explain a Novation too to everybody real quick. All right, so here's my knowledge to a Novation. Okay, I've been to a lot of seminars. One of my best friends his name's Eric Brewer. He's one of the biggest Novation guys out there. Here's a Novation. Property's worth $100,000. Wholesale deal says 60. Right now, Novation exists above a wholesale price, but below a retail price. But the home's probably in pretty good condition. It just needs little shit. Oh, there's a hole in the wall. Well, like I mentioned earlier, a hole in the wall to a homeowner, they don't even know how much that costs to fix. A hole in the wall to a handyman is $35. Okay. So maybe you go into this place and there's a couple of issues, but it's cosmetic. It's nothing crazy. We're not tearing anything down or replacing any cabinets or anything. So they're okay with taking 80, right? It's worth 100, wholesale 65. They're okay with 80. We definitely can't do 65. I'll tell you what, we can do 80. Well, how do we make an $80,000 wholesale deal work? You can't. Okay. Now, what you can do is you go to them and you go, look, here's what's going to happen for $80,000. And then the main pitch for Novation is time. Okay. So cash offer, wholesale deal, that's money today. Hey, I can get you paid within 15 days, 30 days on the cash offer. Well, I want 80. Okay. I can do 80. Do you have 3 to 6 months? If you have 3 to 6 months, I can do 80. All right. And the reason why is we're going to put it on the MLS. We're going to make customary repairs. We're going to have to show the property. That's probably going to take 3 to 6 months. All right. So that's why we say, great, I can do more, but do I have more time? That's our first lead way in. Yes, we have more time. Great. Well, I have this awesome white glove strategy where what I do is I will come in, I will make all the necessary repairs to the home. You will not have to put another dollar into this property. I will make all the necessary repairs. I will list it on the MLS and I will even field the showings and the offers. Well, what's the catch? Well, the catch is if the property sells for $100,000, I make everything over 80. Okay. So let's say the realtor is $6,000. Let's say the repairs are $2,000. All right. Well, that equals $8,000. you're gonna make a $20,000 profit spread. Well, now 6,000 to the realtor, 2,000 to repairs, you're now at a $12,000 profit deal. So you're making that whole spread there. So that's what's in it for you. Now, the other side is, let's say the property sells for more. Well, with the repairs, we actually painted the motherfucker and we added this cool door here, and now the property is worth 110. Okay, it sells for 110. Well, you just made $30,000 minus the 8,000. So now you're at 22,000. So the beauty of the novation is whatever you get them under contract for is all they make. Now you do have to cover the realtor fees and the repairs. Okay, so those two pieces come out. But just like I said earlier, if you go in there and you're like, hey man, we did an inspection and the complete plumbing is shot, you know, like this is a $10,000 repair. Like we're going to have to, like, I can't do that, right? This is no longer that math I explained to you earlier where I was making 12,000. Now I'm making negative 8,000. Okay. Right. So you can then go to the homeowner and be like, hey, we could either walk away or we can figure out a way to still close this deal. You know, so even if there is greater repairs, you mentioned the credit, and I think that's the way that the credits, look, this is too big. This isn't cosmetic. This is structural, right? This has to be fixed. So, you know, you want to do a little give or take here. So that's a novation. Novation lives between the wholesale and the creative finance. So for me, I call it the three offer method: low cash offer, medium novation offer, high creative finance offer. Now, of course, creative finance isn't always high, but they think that their purchase price, it's a higher purchase price. It's not a higher offer. It's a higher purchase price. But again, like I spoke of earlier, creative finance is all about the length of the terms more so than it is about the actual, how much money can you make while you own it is the purpose of a lot of creative finance deals. Can you walk away anytime or will you have to take the contract no matter what? So very often in these contracts, there's like a 15-day clause that you get an inspection. If you're happy with the inspection, you stay in the contract. So with a lot of these things, it's just written right in there, but you make sure you do your due diligence in that window. Okay, so you can write that window in and then decide. Now, at the end of the day, I don't know, this is not legal advice clearly because I don't know the answer, but like there is no keeping the contract. I mean, if the house doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. If the repairs are greater than the sale price, you don't do the deal, right? But the beauty of novations is the offers don't go to the homeowner, they go to you. So you see everything and nothing goes to the homeowner. And that's one of the beauties of it, is it all goes to you. And then you can pick the offer that best suits your deal as well.
And we have to pay the inspection, right?
Yeah, you'd have to pay the inspection. In this case, you might have a contractor or someone nearby because you'll probably be making the repairs anyways, as well.
Okay.
I did not answer Kimberly's question yet, but I'm gonna hit that one up next, Carlo. But okay, any other questions about that, guys? I'm sure there's probably a couple, but what I'd recommend anyone who wants more is, I'm not super ninja on the novation. I do understand the structure and how it works. I would definitely check out Eric Brewer. I would definitely check out YouTube University. I'm a huge fan for YouTube when it comes to finding the perfect language. Like you'll see when I get a creative finance expert in here, what makes him an expert is over the years, he found the words to make it sound as easy as possible, right? So when I say, look up these videos, I can teach you the basic and the fundamentals, but the videos will give you the exact phrasing and the exact wording that is already just the way I can tell you the perfect cold calling script. There's other people out there that can tell you the perfect novation line and the perfect creative finance line and stuff like that. So when I say check out these videos, it's not for the basics, it's for the actual language that you're going to use whenever you're talking to a seller. Whew, thank God I like talking a lot. All right, next up, Kimberly's question. She asked about on her form, and Kimberly, let me know if I get this right. You said,
Yeah.
for the Liz pendants, is there a way to tell if it's lot or if it's land? Or I'm sorry, if it's a
Right.
house or if it's land? Is that right?
Right. Right.
And-
Because, I can look it up. And for Orange County, per se, in Florida, you can do like a filter on the tax collector's like information. So you can find somebody that's a house and maybe they didn't pay their taxes for quite some time, or they're on the cusp of something, like something tragic has probably happened and they don't know which way to go. So I know that about a house, but what am I looking for, like longitude and latitude for land? Because I'm sure there's people that have the same issue. It's just with land. And if I knew what I was looking for, then I could pull my own leads and kind of go from there and start.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So, and then just to repeat the question back to you. So you go to the county, you get the list. Now your question is, on these lists, what are my indicators that this is a piece of land over a house, right? Just to, and so I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. But what I
Yeah.
will say is send me over a list you got from the county. Okay.
Okay.
And I will actually look over it and I will get you that answer. So I'll be like, oh, there's a pattern here.
Oh,
It's
I
this,
see.
it's this cell, because what I would look for is something that says like livable square footage, for
Oh,
example.
I see.
Right. Or
Yeah.
you know, something like that. Or so when you send that list to me, which I'll put my email, I'll put my personal email.
Okay.
And this is actually my personal, anyone could email me here. But I suck at emails. Okay.
Okay.
So email with caution, but I'm gonna keep an eye open for yours, Kimberly.
Okay.
But I'm gonna put my email in and
Alright.
shoot me that list over and I'll review that with my general manager and I'll see if I can get you an answer on how to easily tell if it's a land or a house.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, thanks so much.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Yeah. All right, cool, guys. Well, it is 3 o'clock. I definitely talked a lot today. I appreciate you guys very much. Does anyone have any pressing questions before we get out of here? Something that they really wanted answered before we jump off? Okay. Well, that's what I love to hear. I'm sorry if I didn't get to you this week and you did have a question. You guys can always call my cell phone directly. I'll put that in the chat as well. You know, definitely no man left behind is my goal, not just to come in and serve a couple people. So if we miss something, feel free to give me a shout. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in and we'll see you next Tuesday. See ya.
Thank you. Bye.
Peace
Yeah, my
out, man.
pleasure, guys. See ya.